Nah, jadi kita mau belajar DPP dari yang ini. Lihat dari video yang pertama. Nih.
In this video, we'll create a complete Bootstrap website from scratch using Bootstrap 4, HTML5, and CSS3. Okay guys, so before we get started, I just have to thank you for all of the likes on the fixed background Bootstrap website I put out recently. I want to set a goal for this video because I think it's the best Bootstrap video I've made yet. So I'm setting a goal of 1,000 likes, and hopefully you can help me reach it so I can keep putting out better content. Okay, so let's take a look at the complete full-width version of the website here before we get started. Then we'll check out the mobile version. So at the top we have our logo, then the navigation on the right, followed by our image slider beneath it with the two buttons here and the heading text above. Then at the bottom of our image slider we have these indicator buttons that can bring us to and from the different image slides. And at the top you'll notice that when we scroll down, the navigation is called a sticky nav in Bootstrap, so it's going to stay sticky and fixed up there until we get down to a certain section of the website, then it will disappear. Okay, then underneath our image slider we have this Jumbotron in Bootstrap where we can feature some text and a button, for example. Then as we scroll down we have the 3-column section with the icons, this 2-column section with the image, fixed background image here. Then this cool feature with Bootstrap where you can have hidden content. So when we click on it, we'll have these emojis, which you can add optionally. Then beneath that, we have what's called cards in Bootstrap. So that's where we have the image, title, paragraph, and then the buttons beneath that. Then we have another 2-column section, this connect section with these font awesome social media icons we'll be adding. Then at the bottom, of course, we have this 3-column footer section at the bottom of the website. So let's scroll back up, and I want to show you how the different sections will resize as we get down to the mobile section using the Bootstrap grid system. So let's go ahead and size it down and take a look at the mobile width, and then we'll resize different sections to see when they transform from 3 columns to 2 columns or to 1 column. So at the top, let's look at our navigation here. So if we select our drop-down nav, it's going to lay out all of our navigation items. And then as we scroll down, you'll find that at this width, all of our sections have a single width. But as we scroll up, some sections will turn into 2 columns. Some sections will stay 1 width at the next breakpoint. So for example, as we scroll up, these sections are still staying 1 column, and then these icons here will go from a single column to 2 columns and then to 3 columns. Okay, so we're going to go over all of the different breakpoints in Bootstrap so you can make things flexed to different column widths as you're seeing here with the emojis. And I'm also going to include all of the different breakpoints inside of style.css for you, which we'll get to in just a second. So in the description of this video will be the Bootstrap website starter files that you're seeing here, including index.
Jadi ini tuh ngambilnya dari sini, tutorial starter files, di download. Jadinya kayak gini. Mana ya? Oh, di ekstrak jadi kayak gini. Isinya ada Bootstrap. Aduh. Ada Bootstrap 4-site files. Kok ini? Oh ya. Ini terus ada ini index sama style.css.
.html and style.css. So I'm going to be using the free program called Sublime Text as my text editor while we build the website. And then I'm also going to have index.html open with Google Chrome as we're building it so we can see the development.
Nah, ini dibuka pakai Google Chrome. Mana ya index.html-nya? Bisa aja. Bisa.
Of the site. So also included in the starter files will be all of the images that we use throughout the tutorial, including the 4 GIF images that you see in this folder here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this aside and let's move over to Sublime Text so we can check out what's already included for us.
Jadi kita langsung buka aja ini pakai gini. Open with Sublime. Oh ya, ini udah ada.
Inside of the starter files. So let's take a look at style.css first because index.html is where we'll start coding for the tutorial. So at the top of style.css we have a Google font imported for us here. Then underneath that we have some media queries laid out, which we'll reference later in the tutorial. Then we have a few fixes beneath that. So we have a fix for our image slider, which is the carousel, and then a fix for our fixed background image that we'll be scrolling over. Then we have a fix for the padding for the responsive Bootstrap. Then at the bottom here we have a invisible comment in CSS laying out where all of the breakpoints are in Bootstrap, so from the extra small point all the way up to extra large. Okay, so we'll be referencing that throughout the tutorial. Let's go over to index.html now. So from the top we have doc type HTML, then our language English, then inside of our head section we have our character set standard UTF-8, then with device width initial scale 1 for mobile websites, followed by the title of our website. Then underneath that we have our Bootstrap CSS file for Bootstrap 4, then the latest version of jQuery, followed by the latest version of Popper JS, and then the latest version of Bootstrap.js here, followed by Font Awesome, which will allow us to use the social media icons that we're seeing here at the bottom of the website. And then lastly, inside of our head section, we have the reference to style.css. Then already included in the body section will be HTML comments for each one of the sections of the website that we'll be laying out to make it easier for us. Okay, so I'm just going to type in some dummy text here to make sure I'm connected to Google Chrome, which I am, as you can see here. And then let's go ahead and get started with our first tag, which will be the header that we're seeing here for our navigation bar, or the navigation itself. Okay, so let's go over to index.html and then we'll get started underneath the navigation comment here. So we'll start with the HTML5 tag nav, and then we'll add our Bootstrap classes. So the first one is navbar, and then
jadi pertama bikin navigation bar, bikinnya
we'll have navbar dash expand dash MD. So we're referencing MD because that's the breakpoint at 768 pixels, as we see here, where it's going to change from the mobile navigation
buat responsif, biar kalau dibuat di tab, dilihat di tab
to the expanded full width navigation. And then we'll have navbar light and BG light, which is the light Bootstrap navigation with the white background and the dark navigation item text. And then also we'll add sticky dash top.
Bentar, kita tulis dulu. Jadi kita ketik navbar expand tadi buat responsif ke tabnya tadi, terus ini navbar light sama background light buat warna backgroundnya dia biar terang, background barnya, navbarnya.
Up as opposed to fixed because we're using the sticky navigation. Next, we'll add our div class contain sticky dash top as opposed to fixed because we're using the sticky navigation. Next, we'll add our div class container for our Bootstrap container. So this is going to be container fluid, so it takes up 100% of the screen, and we'll be referencing that throughout the tutorial.
Oke, terus sebelum ditutup dikasih div class container fluid.
So underneath that, what we'll do is add our logo first. So if we refresh, we can see a little bit of the nav light up there, navbar light. So let's add a class navbar dash brand.
Ntar coba kita save ya. Terus dilihat di sini coba refresh. Oh, ini navbarnya udah kelihatan. Segini full. Buat navbarnya warnanya light. Terus
for our logo, and then we'll add our link. So I'm just going to do the hashtag, but you can do index.html, for example, here. And then we'll add our image here for the logo. So that's going to be img/logo.png, since we're in the img folder there in the starter files. And then we can close out our link tag, the A tag there, and here.
Jadi kita mau nambahin logo di, divnya belum ditutup. Sebelum ditutup. Jadi, bentar. Ini tuh masukin link gambarnya. Bentar, ini sebelum ini kita kasih kelas sama dengan navbar brand, yaitu buat nama aja. Terus ininya kita masukin image-nya itu kita lihat tadi location-nya dia tuh ada di mana nih? IMG. Gimana ya? Bentar. Di mana ya? Segitu.
Here we have our logo displaying. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to our.
Namanya ini kan logo.png. Jadi kita masukin, coba. Bentar. logo.png. Coba ya, save. Kayaknya nggak muncul sih. Muncul. Oke. Emang satu lokasi sama foldernya index. Udah deh. Maksudnya dia masuk di ininya tadi, Bootstrap for site filesnya. Oke. Terus terus selanjutnya ini logonya udah muncul.
Navigation button here. So we'll reference that with the HTML5 button tag. And then we'll give.
Kita bikin button.
Give it a class here. So we're going to say class navbar dash toggler since this is our toggle switch basically for our navigation. And then type button and data-toggle collapse, because our navigation will be collapsing, opening and collapsing. And then we'll say data-target hashtag navbar and then capital R in responsive. So we'll create that ID, the div ID for that in just a moment.
Bentar. Jadi dikasih kelasnya itu namanya navbar toggler. Terus type-nya button. Salah. Terus data toggle. Collapse karena dia akan collapse katanya. Open and collapse. Terus data target sama dengan ini navbar responsive. Terus
Okay, so now if we refresh, we'll have the start of our drop-down button here. So let's
jadi ini tuh bikin buttonnya drop down. Kok nggak bisa? Belum kali.
Let's go ahead and add our icon. So in Bootstrap, the div R for that in just a moment. Okay, so now if we refresh, we'll have the start of our drop-down button here. So let's go ahead and add our icon. So in Bootstrap 4, all we need to do is add a span class here, as opposed to a line for each bar in the icon. So we'll say span class navbar-toggler-icon. Okay, so now if we go and refresh, there we have our navbar icon completed. So let's go ahead and add a class for our
kita bikin span, terus masukin kelasnya itu navbar toggler icon. Terus di save, kita lihat, tada, dia muncul kayak gini. Toggler icon.
collapsible navbar now, and then we'll add the ID for our data target for the navbar button. So we'll say div class collapse navbar dash collapse. Okay, and then inside of the same div we'll add an ID, and it's going to be the navbar responsive with the capital R. Okay, so you can drop down and close out the div.
Mana ya tadi itu? Berarti kita bikin bentar. Div baru. Isinya divnya ini dikasih kelas seperti biasa, terus ininya nama kelasnya collapse navbar collapse. Belum bikin. Collapse, terus ID-nya navbar responsive.
And then inside of here we'll have our unordered list. So ul class navbar dash nav, and then ml dash auto. So ml dash auto is going to push our navigation when it's at its full width off to the right hand side, as opposed to having it in the middle. So as you can see here, at full width we have the navigation pushed off to the right hand side. Okay, so next we can go ahead and add our list items.
Dia kalau responsif, kalau full layar gini tuh jadi muncul semua. pilihan menu navbarnya, tapi kalau diginiin, dikecilin, jadinya dia kayak ke bawah, kayak drop down gitu. Jadi ini kita bikin kelasnya namanya navbar, nav ml auto itu buat yang tadi responsif tadi.
So let's start with the first one with li class nav-item. And we'll make this the active navigation item in just a second with an active class. But first, let's go ahead and lay out the rest of it with a class nav link, and then we'll add our link here. So I'm just going to leave it blank for now, and then you can write your text for the first navigation link and close out the list item.
Oh, jadi ini tuh kita bikin.
Hey, selamat datang di tempat gue. Kopi.
Jadi ini tuh bikin item menu yang
So I'm going to go ahead and copy
navbarnya. Jadi bikinnya itu bukan itu. Ini tutupnya di luar. Jadi kita bikin kayak gini. Li class. Terus nama kelasnya nav item. Terus kita kasih link. Linknya tuh biarin dulu kosong. Jadi kita bikin kelas buat ininya dulu, namanya nav link. Terus jadi menu pertama yang dibuat itu adalah home.
Copy this and paste it. I'll be doing that here and there throughout the tutorial to save us some time. Okay, and then I'll add the active class here for the first one, and if we refresh, okay, and then I'll add the
ini diganti. Nav item active. Gini.
active class here for the first one, and if we refresh, there we have the active class darker than the rest. So let's go ahead and fill out the rest of these navigation items with about, and then we have
services, theme, sama connect. Oh, kita kopas aja segini. Gini. Tuh agak bikin 4, 2, 3, 4. Ini itu apa ya? About. Terus ini itu services. Ini theme. Terus yang terakhir itu adalah connect. Save, terus kita refresh ini. Tada, ini kayak gini soalnya lagi anggap aja responsif. Kalau diginiin tuh kelihatan. Gitu. Kita kembalikan seperti semula. Terus
okay.
Okay.
All right, so there we have all of our navigation links. Later in the CSS, we'll make them a little larger and space them out a little bit to look like the original here. So now let's drop down and get started on our carousel image slider. Okay, so we can go underneath the image slider.
Oke, ini udah. Sekarang kita ke image slider.
HTML5 comment, and we'll start with our div ID slides, and then we'll give it a class called carousel space slide, and then we'll say data-ride carousel. Okay. And then before we add our images, I'm just going to drop down and close out the ID here.
Ya, seperti biasa kita bikin div dengan ini ada ID-nya tapi. Yaudah, ID-nya itu slides. Terus kelasnya itu adalah carousel slide. Kan typo. Kemudian ini data right. Salah. Itu kita kasih carousel
we're going to add will be our carousel indicators. So those are the links at the bottom of the image slider. Let me just show you here that bring us to different slides. So we'll go ahead and reference those first here. So we'll say UL class so those are the links
buat indikatornya carouselnya.
Links at the bottom of the image slider.
Jadi,
let me just show
itu tuh kalau dijelasin di sini dia tuh kayak bukan button kayak slidernya gitu loh, kayak ini garis 1 gambar ke 1, garis 2 gambar kedua, kayak next kayak semacam
here that bring us to different slides. So we'll go ahead and reference those first here. So we'll say UL class carousel dash indicators, and then we can close out our unordered list, and then inside of that we'll have list items. So we'll say
jadi kita mau bikin list lagi kayak tadi initial skill salah, gini bikin list unordered list kata dia. Ini kita kasih kelas seperti biasa, namanya kita kasih carousel indicators, lalu bikin isinya li
data dash target, and then we'll reference the div ID that we just created called slides. So hashtag slides, and then data slide 2,
data target itu,
and the first one will be
dia menyambungkan ke ID. Data target tuh menyambungkan ke ID itu caranya tinggal kasih pagar sih hashtag. Jadi kita itu mana ya? Oh ini nih. Di sini data dash target, ininya slides. Enggak. Kan harus mengacu ke ID, jadi pakai hashtag slides. Terus ini
0. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy this and
diketik dulu ya. Data slide 2 0. Di save.
paste it 3 times for each
Nah, ini
navigation.
Kan tadi kita mau bikin 3 slider, bukan 3 slider, 3 gambar yang bisa di slide, yang bisa di next. Jadi tiap gambar itu punya list sendiri-sendiri. Gitu. Jadi kita copy ini sebanyak 3 kali. Enggak, maksudnya di paste 2 kali aja. Bikin
Slide with the link beneath, and then I'll change the first one to class active.
Oh, jadi itu data slide itu urutannya dari 0, gambar kedua itu slide to 1, data ketiga itu slide to 2. Data ketiga, gambar ketiga itu slide to 2, terus yang dipilih buat ditampilin itu yang gambar ke-1 yang ini, yang data slide to 0. Jadi kita kasih dia active.
Alright, so we're not going to see those pop up yet until we add our images, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start with div class carousel inner, and then close out our div. Alright, so we're not going to see those pop up yet until we add our images, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start with div class carousel inner, and then close out our div. And then inside of that, we'll have our first carousel item. So div class carousel dash item, and then we'll have our image inside of the div. So it's going to be image source.
Image source.
Okay, and then we'll reference the IMG folder. And our carousel images will all be background.png, with the second being background 2 and the third being background 3. So I'll go ahead and copy this and paste it twice over. Okay, and then we'll...
Nah, jadi ini tadi yang mana? Carousel indicators itu cuman buat slidernya doang, tapi gambarnya belum ada. Nah, buat masukin gambarnya, kita bikin div lagi. Mana ya? Oh ya benar. Kita bikin div lagi. Isinya itu gini. Seperti biasa dikasih kelas. Jadi ini namanya carousel item karena kita mau masukin item ke dalam carouselnya. Terus kita kita masukin image-nya. Jadi image source. Nah, kita lihat ini itu ada di dalam folder image img ini 1 2 3. Jadi background.png, background 2 sama background 3. Background belum. img. Ya. Background.png. Terus kita kopas. Kita ngopasnya sama div-nya juga. Jadi sebentar. Jadi sebelum kita tuh bikin carousel inner dulu. Terus baru bikin div baru. Sebentar. Iya. Nah, ini tuh ditaruh di habisnya ini kan. Terus kita bikin kelas baru, namanya baru carousel item. Terus baru kita copy paste 3 kali karena gambarnya ada 3. Ini 2, ini 3. Dah.
I'll just change the image extensions here, and I'm going to make the first one the active class. All right.
Oke, kita save, terus kita cek. Sering. Ada yang salah sepertinya.
So now
Kita lihat dulu. Jadi pertama kan div id, slides, terus ul. Buat listnya, terus listnya 1 2 3. Terus ini ada ditutupkan UL-nya, terus kita buka div lagi. Carousel inner, terus div 1, ini dibuat masuk aja kali. Salah. img kita masukin aja. Gini aja nih. Terus kan udah div carousel inner, terus div img ditutup, terus div img ditutup, div img ditutup, terus div close-nya ada 2. Bener pada apa yang salah ya? Background 3.png img. Coba sih. Refresh. No. Ada yang typo. Div id, slides, class, carousel slide, data right, carousel, terus ul class, carousel indicators, data target, slides, data slide to 0, class sama dengan active. Tutup lagi sama data target sama ini 1012. Terus ini tutup ul, terus div class carousel inner, div class carousel item active. aktif. Tuh kan. Save, refresh. Nah, jadi ini indicatorsnya tadi, jadi gambarnya kayak gini. Nah, kayak gini kan.
And I'm going to match. The images are way outside of the finished version dimensions for the image slider, but we can see the carousel indicators at the bottom already.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and add our content that sits on top of our slider now. Okay, so the first thing that we'll need to do for this is we'll need to wrap it with a div class. So we'll say div class carousel dash caption, and then we can close out that bit with a div. For this is we'll need to, so let's go ahead and add our content that sits on top of our slider now.
Kita mau nambahin
Okay, so the first thing that we'll need to do for this is we'll need to wrap it with a div class. So we'll say div class carousel dash caption, and then we can close out our div. And the first thing that we'll add will be our heading 1 where it says Bootstrap. So we're going to use an h1 class and we're going to say display dash 2. So Bootstrap has display classes which makes the text large and a lightweight, as you can see here. So you have display 1 to 4, so 2 is one of the bigger ones. And now let's add our heading 3 beneath that. So H3 complete website layout. And then we'll have our first button underneath that. So we'll say button type button, and then we'll give it its class here with btn, and then btn dash outline dash light, and then btn lg for large.
large, LG large.
Okay, so now if we refresh, there we're seeing the beginnings of our outline button. So let's just write view demo here for the first button, and then we can add our second here. Okay, so again, this is going to be type button, and then for the class, it will be btn, and then btn dash primary, and again, we'll use button large. Okay, so by default, the primary button is going to be the blue shade. And then, so later in the CSS, we'll give it the Bootstrap purple shade that we see a few times throughout the tutorial. Right here. Okay. So the next thing that we'll do is let's drop down to our Jumbotron that we see here.
Jadi,
Next thing that we'll do is let's drop down to our Jumbotron that we see here. So we'll go down underneath the Jumbotron, our Jumbotron.
Nah, jadi ini tuh kita mau nambahin caption di ininya, di apa? Di atas carouselnya yang slide pertama. Jadi yang di ini, yang aktif ini bikin div lagi. Nah, ini kelasnya kita bikin display dash 2. Terus bukan carousel caption. Terus baru kita bikin bawahnya H1 header 1 yang besar, bikin tulisan besar itu H1. Kita kasih kelas display to dash 2. Nah, terus tulisannya itu adalah Bootstrap. Gak usah deh. Belajar Laily. Terus kita bikin tulisan bawahnya lebih kecil, jadi kita pakai H3, header 3, header ya. Gak usah dikasih kelas, langsung kita tulis aja. Belajar bersama Laily. Terus kita bikin di bawahnya kan ada button 2. Kita bikin button yang pertama dulu. Jadi button type-nya adalah button. Terus kelasnya adalah btn. Kita bikin sama aja outline, jadi dia outline buttonnya nanti hasilnya, dan btn lg large karena besar. Terus nama buttonnya itu, nama tulisan di buttonnya itu adalah, samain aja view demo. Terus kita bikin button yang kedua, sama button type-nya adalah button. Terus kelasnya adalah btn primary itu defaultnya warna biru, jadi yang berwarna ke blok gitu, defaultnya warna biru. Terus ini button large sama juga ukuran gede. Terus ini tulisannya get started. Terus di save, kita lihat tada, belajar Laily, belajar bersama. Ya ini udah kan.
That we see here. So we'll go down underneath the Jumbotron class, or comment rather. And we'll start it off with a div class container dash fluid, and then we'll have our div class row, and then we'll also reference the Jumbotron class here. Okay, and then we can close out our divs. Then inside of our div class row, we only really need to reference the Bootstrap column width, where it goes from a single column to the next, so a 2-column width or a 3-column. But what we're going to do for the first couple of sections here is we're going to reference all of the div class columns here. So we'll have the extra small for less than 576 pixels, and then we'll have the
buat responsive,
the small followed by the medium, large, and extra large.
small, medium, extra.
Okay, so we'll say div class column dash XS dash 12. So at extra small widths, we'll have it take up 100%, since there's 12 different columns in the Bootstrap grid, as well as at the small width, and then at the medium width, 768 pixels will change from full width to 9 columns, and then it'll stay at 9 columns for the larger screens at 992, and then at extra large, it's going to change to 1098 pixels at the small width, and then at the medium width, 768 pixels will change from full width to 9 columns, and then it'll stay at 9 columns for the larger screens at 992, and then at extra large, it's going to change to 10 columns. Okay, so then we can close out our div here, and let's add our paragraph here. So we'll use p-class lead.
Small sama 12, medium 9, kalau large juga 9, extra large
lead, which makes this sort of lightweight text here in Bootstrap rather than just a regular paragraph tag. And then I'm just going to paste in the info here for web hosting, and then we can close out our paragraph.
Hey, selamat datang di tempat gue, kopimanala.com. Website.com gue selalu online 24 jam.
Okay, so at the bottom there we have our web hosting information. And a quick plug, by the way, if you need web hosting to get your website uploaded to the internet, I'll have a link to the web host that I use in the video description. So if you need help with that.
Nah, jadi kita buat Jumbotron. Kita buat div seperti biasa. Kemudian kelasnya adalah container float. Bikin div lagi. Terus kelasnya merefer ke Jumbotron. Row, kita buat sebaris gini. Row Jumbotron kecil gede, kecil apa gede, kecil deh, ikut. Terus kita bikin div lagi. Kelasnya adalah kita yang buat responsif tadi. Jadi ini kalau misalnya extra small, kita extra small gini, ini 12 juga 12. Call medium, small dulu dibuat sama 12. Call medium dibuat 9. Call large dibuat 9. Baru terakhir call extra large berapa? 10. Dah. Terus kita masukkan teksnya. Jadi ini paragraph, kelasnya adalah lead. Jadi teksnya adalah samain aja sih. A service allows individuals and organizations to make their website accessible via the World Wide Web. Dah, kalau sudah kita next dulu. Kita lihat dulu. Ini nggak ada kan? String, nah ini a web hosting service. Terus digedein dia tuh kayak gini, tuh. Yes. Udah kan? Next.
Leave a comment, and you can use the link in the description. All right, so next let's add our button here. So again, we'll have this at 12 columns at the smallest width, and then 12 again for the small screens.
9.
And then at medium width, 768 pixels, we'll go to 3 columns.
3 columns.
And we'll keep it there for large screens. And then at the extra large, we'll go to 2 columns, since that's all that's left, with our paragraph taking up 10 columns. Okay, and then we have our link here for the button.
Web hosting.
And we'll write web hosting inside of it. And then we'll just give our button class btn dash
outline light
dash secondary.
Secondary.
And then btn dash lg for large.
Yeah.
Okay, so now if we refresh our jump.
Wait, jadi kita bikin button di mana itu? Kan udah divnya di close. Bikin div lagi. Kelasnya adalah call access. Aku tahu, kita kopas aja yang di sini, terus kita ganti accessnya 12, SM12, ininya 3 sama 2. Terus kita bikin link. Buttonnya akan mengarahkan pada suatu link. Jadi linknya belum ada, kita kasih hashtag aja. Terus kita bikin button. Button type-nya adalah button, ya. Kemudian kelasnya itu adalah btn outline secondary, kemudian apa tadi ya, btn large buat large. Nah, terus kita kasih nama web hosting.
LG for
LG
large.
for large.
Okay, so now if we refresh our Jumbotron here.
Kita refresh, ini nggak ada kan? Sering tuh. Ada web hosting. Ini ada yang typo outline bukan outline. Makanya dia nggak ada garisnya. Sering tuh. Web hosting.
Here we have it taking up the full screen until we get to 768 pixels, where it will turn to 9 columns for our paragraph there, and then 3 for our button. Okay, so next let's go ahead and drop down to the welcome section here. So again, we'll use the div class container fluid. So div class container dash fluid. And then we're also going to add a class here. So you'll notice throughout the tutorial that we use this several times, and we're just going to call it padding. So we'll be adding some additional
Kita pindah ke welcome section.
additional padding between the containers and rows here in Bootstrap. All right, and then row welcome text center. So row and text center are Bootstrap classes. Welcome is a class that will style ourselves later to give this section its width along our text center. So row and text center are Bootstrap classes. Welcome is a class that will style ourselves later to give this section its width among some other things. All right, so now let's add our div class here, and this is just going to be col-12 because it takes up 100% of the screen and all 12 columns. And then we'll add our heading 1. So that's going to be h class -12 because it takes up 100% of the screen and all 12 columns. And then we'll add our heading 1. So that's going to be h class, or h1 class rather, display 4 rather than display 2. And then we'll just say built with ease. And then we can close out our heading 1. Okay, and then underneath that, what we're going to have is a horizontal rule. So later we're going to give it its style. For now, we can just say HR here.
HR tuh buat bikin line, buat bikin garis. Jadi kita ke welcome section kan sekarang. Kita bikin div seperti biasa. Kelasnya adalah container fluid padding. Terus bikin lagi div div kelasnya row welcome text center. Terus kita bikin div lagi, kelasnya adalah col 12 karena kita mau masuk apa? Nggak usah col 12 doang. Biar 100% kolomnya semuanya kena 12 kolom. Terus kita mau bikin tulisan build with ease pakai H1, header 1. Kelasnya adalah display 4. Kemudian kita bikin build with ease. Terus di save, kita lihat di sini, di bawahnya ini nanti string tuh. Build with ease, terus kita selanjutnya mau bikin garis.
And then let's add our next column. So this again is going to be a full width column. So we can say div class col 12.
Full width column.
And then we'll use the p class lead. And I'm just going to paste in the text here. Okay.
Jadi kita bikin HR, bikin line. Terus kita kasih div kelasnya adalah col 12 karena mau bikin garis HR ini tadi yang full tadi kan, full width. Terus kita bikin di bawahnya tulisan welcome to my bla bla bla. Benar. Jadi kita bikin paragraf, kelasnya adalah lead. Terus kita ketik welcome to apa tadi? Laily belajar. Tutorial. Laily's tutorial. Terus di save.
Alright, so now
di refresh string. Nah, sebentar, garisnya tidak muncul.
we go and refresh the version we're working on. We have our paragraph text there and our heading 1 displaying centered with the text center.
Kurang panjang. Kita tambahin tulisan kayak itu. Bootstrap is a free and open source front-end library with HTML terus
class, and we can move on to the 3-column section below. The 3-column text. So now
HR doang kan? Iya, benar kok. Kita pindah ke 3 column.
Okay, so let's drop down and let's again create our div class container dash fluid, and we'll also add padding to this container, and then row text center, and then we'll also add padding to the row. All right, so we're actually going to add padding underneath the horizontal rule that you see there. So we're going to use the Bootstrap horizontal rule called my4, and it's going to kind of create that light gray horizontal rule here that spans across the whole page. So HR class my-4 in between the closing divs for our container and our row. So we have padding on both sides of the horizontal rule here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the first of our 3 columns here.
Oke, jadi kita bikin div lagi. Kelasnya adalah container float padding. Kemudian bikin div yang kedua. Kelasnya adalah row text center, kasih padding juga. Terus kita mau ngasih garis HR. Kita kasih kelasnya adalah my4. Udah. Lihat. Nah, ini ada garisnya tadi. Pakai kelas my4. Coba kalau misalnya kita kasih di sini HR kelasnya ya. Kelas my4 itu light gray. Oh, nggak ada ternyata. Nggak ada. Oke. Jadi udah kan ya?
So we're going to say div class, and let's use the single width column here. So we'll say col -xs-12 and then col sm6 because it's at half the width at the 568 pixel mark, as you can see here. And then once we get to 768 pixels, it's going to be 3 columns. So 1/3 or col-md4. So MD4, 768 pixels.
Gitu.
And then let's go ahead and add our icon here. So we'll be using the
Jadi kita bikin
font awesome icon reference. So we'll say iClass FAS
font
and then FA-code and then close out your I tag there. And underneath that we'll have a heading 3.
Tadi kenapa?
And then let's go ahead and add our icon here. So we'll be using the font awesome icon reference. So we'll say iClass FAS.
Mungkin I itu icon ya. What is iClass? Icons. The I. Okay. Widely used to add icons. Okay.
And then FA-code and then close out your I tag there. And underneath that we'll have a heading 3 for HTML5 and then our paragraph text underneath. So as you can see, this is the difference between the regular paragraph text and the P-class lead. Alright, so let's go ahead and refresh. And there we have our code icon as well as our heading 3 and the paragraph. So if you do a Google search for font awesome icons, you can go ahead and just add any icon that.
Jadi kita bikin ini kan, udah bikin div padding gitu. Terus kita bikin div lagi. Mau bikin icon. Bikin icon ya? Iya, bikin icon. Bikin kelasnya dulu, bikin kolomnya dulu. Kalau misalnya dia kecil, misalnya col xs, kita buat full dia 12. Terus kalau small, salah. Kalau small itu kita buat setengahnya, jadi 2 kolom. Dan yang terakhir adalah col md medium 4/3. Jadi udah kan, terus kita masukin yang I-nya buat masukin icon, ngambil dari font awesome, langsung aja add iconnya kayak gini, add anuin I kelasnya adalah fast FA code. Terus kita masukin ini buat ininya, buat logonya. Terus kita masukkan H3 tulisan di bawahnya. Jadi ini adalah logo HTML5, HTML5. Terus kita masukin paragraph. Build with the latest version of. Dah. Coba kita lihat di sini. Ini. Jadi ini yang pertama, iClass, HTML5, H3, dan terakhir adalah paragraph.
That you want here. Just pay attention to the classes that we use when we style our icons later. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste this section in here
Karena kita
just
mau
once, and we'll change this to bold.
bikin
Since there isn't actually a Bootstrap icon with Font Awesome, we'll just use the bold icon. And then I'll change this to Bootstrap, and then Bootstrap and Bootstrap 4, which is the latest version. The same as the free, straight from. So all we need is call. All we really need is call MD4, but you can add call SM12 if you want also. All right, now change this to CSS and CSS3.
Kita copy ini div-nya. Terus bikin ini sama bikin ini. Nah, ini itu sama. Jadi ini diganti bold. Terus ini Bootstrap. Terus ini sama Bootstrap. Bootstrap 4. Terus ini adalah apa nih? CSS3. Ininya CSS3. CSS3. Udah, kita save, kita lihat di sini. Nah, ini. Bentar, logo dia nggak muncul. Fast CSS3 bener? Kita mau naruh dia di bawah. Jadi ininya cuman call MD aja. Small 12 aja. Sama ini MD4. Save, refresh. Nggak bisa ya? Apa dia? Kenapa ya? Class call SM12, call MD4. iClass-nya fast VA CSS. CSS kan bener? Kayaknya trouble. Di save. Call SM12 dan call MD4. Iya bener. Fast VA 3. Coba refresh. Fast VAFA. Nggak bisa tapi ya di sini. Area hidden apa ya? FACSS3 bener kok. apa coba kita tambahin ya? Area. Apa ya? Mana ya? Benar loh. Padahal mana tadi? CSS3. Ya apa sih? Ya udah, kayaknya lagi error. Ini kodenya udah benar, FA CSS3.
3. And now let's go ahead and refresh.
Coba kita ganti aja deh kayaknya. Ganti sama yang lain. Jadi misalnya kita pakai mana ya? Kita pakai logo rumah. Home coba. Nah, muncul. Kita pakai logo rumah sementara karena itunya.
And looks like I missed something here. So this is actually FAB rather
ini
than
juga
FA.
error ternyata. Jadi ini tuh FAB CSS3 save. Kok ini? Nah.
Yes. All right, so there we go with our CSS icon there. All right, and then if we flex up, we'll go from the 2 columns to the 3 columns. Okay.
The 2
So
columns to the 3 columns. 2 columns to the 3. Nah, 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Terus ya gini sih.
Now let's go ahead and drop down to the next section, which is the 2-column section with the text on the left, and then we have the image on the right.
And the image on the right, yes.
So this is going to change after the 768 pixel mark, but we'll get to that in just a second. Let's go ahead and start off with our div class container dash fluid, and then we'll also add padding to this container. And then we'll add our div class row, which will also have padding.
Row apa tadi? Row text center.
Okay, so div class row padding.
Oh, nggak usah.
And now let's add our div class for the column here where it changes at the large screen mark, which I believe is 992 pixels. Okay, so let's go back to index.html and we'll say div class, and we'll reference the medium one here. So div class call md12 and then call lg6.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and then we can close out our div.
Oke, jadi kita bikin ininya dulu seperti biasa. Div class-nya adalah container float padding. Terus kita mau bikin row padding. Kemudian kita bikin div class buat ininya biar kebagi responsifnya, kayak ini tuh jadinya call MD12 sama call MD cold lagi LG large 6.
And then
Jadi
inside,
kalau call M12 dia tuh kayak pas medium full gini kan, 12 kan full. Kalau digedein, di fullin, jadinya cuma separuh text, separuh image.
inside of that, we'll start with a heading 2 where it says if you build it. So if you build it, ... And then underneath that, we'll have a few different paragraphs. Okay, so there we have our heading 2. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste these paragraphs in here. All right.
My guests usually book my apartment through my own website, which I built with Logify. It was very easy to
Logify.
Okay, so then I'll paste the last one, and then we'll add our button, which if you remember from the button that we added, or the second button that we added inside or on top of our image slider, this is going to be the same as that, the primary button. So as we can see here, it's changing to the half width.
Half width? Yeah.
Okay, so that is...
Yeah, because mediumnya
Yeah, there we go,
full dan
at
large-nya
992 pixels for the
Half
large
width.
screen.
Jadi kita bikin teksnya dulu. Teksnya itu sebentar. Oh iya, bikin judulnya dulu kan. Judulnya itu adalah if you build it ... Terus kita bikin paragrafnya. Di sini ada teksnya nggak ya? Udah. The columns will automatically stack on the top of each other when the screen is less than 576 pixel wide. Terus bikin lagi apa deh, resize the browser window to see the effect. Responsive web design has become more important kita udah ngetik terus.
So if you want, you can go ahead and just get rid of this and you'll find that nothing changes. So all we need to add is the column for the breakpoint when it goes from full screen to something other than that. Okay, so let's go back to the finished version here and let's add our second column for
Jadi dia itu mengdelete ini. Kan sebenarnya aslinya ini kayak gini kan. Nah, kalau dia kayak gini kan full. Kalau kayak gini jadi setengah. Nah, sebenarnya nggak apa-apa kalau misalnya ini di-delete. Dia cuman large 6. Jadi ini itu kok ini? Aku salah lagi. Jadi ini salah. Jadi ini tuh kayak gini kan. Kayak gini. Cuman semakin gede kayak gini. Sama aja sih sebenarnya. Sama aja.
for the image
Mau
that
di-delete
we're
mau
seeing
enggak?
here.
Nggak apa-apa, nggak ada masalah. Nggak ada masalah. Nggak
Okay,
ngaruh.
so we'll say
Ngaruh sih.
div class
Sama aja tadi.
col-lg-6.
Ini buat image kayaknya.
And then you can close out the div, and inside of that we'll have /
Ya, image.
.png.
Yes,
And then we'll
Oke, jadi kita bikin div lagi untuk itunya, gambarnya call lg itu 6. Terus kita image source-nya kita pakai yang ini dash.png. Jadi gini dulu, salah nih. Oke. Dash.png.
also give this a class here, and we're going to say image-fluid for responsiveness.
Fluid itu
Okay,
for
so there we have it, and have it changing at the 992 pixel mark.
Coba ya, kalau misalnya kayak gini, kita refresh. Nah, dia tuh kayak gini kan. Kalau ini jadi ke samping. Tapi ini kayak ke potong gitu kan. Coba kita tambahin kelasnya fluid. Apa kelasnya? Oh, img. Gini. Coba di refresh. Kayak gini. Nah, tadi kan kayak kepotong cuman setengah gini doang. Kalau dikasih img fluid itu dia jadi kayak gini, nggak separuh. Kayak emang ya udah gitu. Full terus.
And then I forgot to add this button that I was talking about. So the button is going to be a primary button once again. I'll just add a break in here to create some space before the button.
BR tuh space.
So it's going to appear blue until we style it in the CSS. So Mary, more in here. Okay, so there we see here. Add is
Jadi kita nambahkan learn more tadi, kita masukin ke habisnya paragraph. Kita tambahkan space, lalu kita tambahkan link. Linknya kita buat nanti aja masukinnya. Kemudian kita masukkan kelasnya adalah button, karena dia button primary. Terus kita tulisan buttonnya adalah refresh. Nah, ini dia. Primary defaultnya warnanya adalah biru.
and then we'll add our fixed image background. Okay,
Jadi ya ini udah selesai. Kita lanjut ke selanjutnya, fix image background.
so this is going to
Yang
be HR
gambar yang
class.
waktu di scroll itu dia nggak bergeser, jadi tetap di situ, cuman kayak lewat gitu aja.
My-4, similar to the one that we added before, that spans the whole page and gives us that sort of light gray feeling or color. And now let's add our fixed image background.
Bentar.
Color,
Itu
A
tadi.
dash. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be HR class
So dia nambahin itu.
My-4, similar to the one that we added before, that spans the whole page and gives us that sort of light gray feeling.
Bentar. Sebelum pakai ini kan kayak gini doang. Kalau sesudah pakai itu kayak gini. Sering gitu.
Or color. And now let's
Warnanya light
add
gray.
our fixed image background. So we'll wrap it with a figure tag, and then we'll have div class fixed dash wrap
Fix wrap.
class fixed background. So we'll wrap it with a figure tag, and then we'll have div class fixed dash wrap. And then we can close out the div, and inside of that we'll have a div ID, and we'll just call it fixed.
Fix.
All right. So next, let's go ahead and add the div.
Jadi yang fix background itu kita pakai tagnya figur. Kita kasih div kelasnya adalah fix wrap. Kok dia nggak close ya tapi. Lalu kita bikin div lagi ID. ID-nya adalah fix. Oh iya deh.
All right. So next, let's go ahead and add that hidden emoji section here. Okay, so we're going to use a button, and we'll just give it a class, and we can call it anything we want. So we'll just call it fun, and then we'll have data toggle collapse, similar to our navigation, and then data target, and we'll just call it emoji. So the ID emoji, and then the text, it just says click for fun. And then we can close out our button tag. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add the ID that it's opening up. So div ID emoji
Yeah.
for the data target there. And then we'll give it its class, collapse. Then we can close out our div, and inside of this we'll have our container. So div class, container dash fluid, and then padding. And then we'll have our row. So we'll say div class row text center. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close out these divs.
Nah, jadi yang ini tuh kita bikin button kan, karena emoji section itu kan diklik ya. Kita bikin button, terus dia kelasnya terserah fun, ikut aja. Terus data toggle-nya adalah collapse. Lalu data targetnya kita mau bikin ke ID ya, data target tuh ke emoji. emoji, kemudian nama buttonnya click for fun, terus ditutup lagi. Terus kita bikin div. Jadi div ini ID-nya adalah emoji. Untuk mengembalikan nilai dari data target tadi, kan data target kan hashtag emoji, hashtagnya tuh mengacu ke ID, sama seperti sebelumnya. Jadi terus kelasnya itu adalah collab sama, terus kita bikin div lagi dong. Div lagi, kelasnya adalah container float padding, dan bikin div lagi, kelasnya adalah row center atau row text center. Terus
And then we can add our columns. So if we look at the emojis here, we'll find that they're going to go from the single, or rather 4 columns to 3
Two
columns to a
columns.
single column.
no,
So it's 12, 6, 3. So we'll just reference the 6 since we
yeah.
don't need the 12. So call SM6 and then call MD3.
ya dibagi
And
dua.
then inside of that, we'll have our GIF. So we're going to give this a class called GIF.
GIF.
So we can give it a max width later in the CSS. And then we'll have our image source, img/GIF/, and this one is panda.gif. Fresh, we should, and for a, but let's go ahead and add the rest of them. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this and paste. The second one is just.
Jadi kita masukin itemnya, GIF-nya. Pertama kita bikin div dulu, kelasnya adalah GIF. Belum, bukan, pembagian kolomnya dulu. Call SM-nya adalah 6, terus full gini, nggak full sih, separuh setengah. Terus call MD-nya 3, setengahnya lagi. Jadi ada 2 kolom gitu. Kalau MD3 udah, terus kita masukkan image-nya. Image kelasnya adalah GIF. Terus source-nya kita kan ngambil dari sini ya, ini GIF. Dia tuh masuk dari image terus ke GIF. Jadi 2 kali kayak gini. TMG GIF, terus nama GIF-nya apa? Misalnya panda. .gif. Udah, kita lihat string click for run. String. Wow. Nah, untuk gambar yang lain tinggal kopas seperti biasa. Untuk keempat gambar yang lain tuh agak. Jadi yang lain namanya adalah apa dulu ya? Unicorn, poo, sama chicken. Ya udah urut aja. Unicorn, poo, PPP. Dan chicken. Kita refresh, click for run. Au. Wait. Oopsie. Wait. Kan ini class fun, data toggle collapse, data target emoji, click for fun, button, terus div ID-nya emoji, class collapse, div kelasnya container float padding, div kelasnya row text center, div class kelas M6, call MD3, img class give, src source img give, panda.give, div close 2, 2, 3.
Just poo for this guy. And okay, so for now, it's not going to appear how we want it, but we can still see it shifting at the...
Kalau misalnya salah. Kalau misalnya 1 gini ya. Oh, dia muncul kalau 1. Kalau enggak 1 tuh.
widths. All right. Okay, so the next section is going to be the Meet the Team section.
Hey, selamat datang di tempat gue, kopimandala.com. Tempat ini bukan sekedar online coffee shop biasa.
So let's go ahead and get it started underneath the Meet the Team comment here with our container. So we'll say div class container fluid padding. And then for our div class row, we're also going to use that same welcome class we used earlier in the HTML. And then we'll have our text center class for the centered heading. So let's go ahead and create our column for the Meet the Team text here.
Yes.
So we'll say div class col12 because it's full width.
Full. Yes.
And then we can close out our div as well as the one for the container and the row. And then we're going to use the display for class similar to what we used above. So h1 class display -4 and then meet the team and close out your heading 1 tag.
Oke, jadi kita bikin meet the team, bikin div seperti biasa. Kelasnya adalah container float padding. Kemudian bikin lagi div class row welcome text center. Terus bikin div kelasnya adalah untuk bikin tulisan ya ini display for, terus tulisannya meet the team, meet the team. No, bukan kayak gitu. Kelasnya itu adalah call 12. Ininya itu nggak kayak gini, thread. Terus ini masuk ke H1 kelas, makanya kok di div ada tulisan gitu ya. Baru ini display for dan ini meet the team. Udah, coba kita refresh dulu nih.
Like there. Then underneath it we'll have
HR.
a 8
Yes.
down there. And let's move on next to our cards section. Okay, so with the card sections, we're going to go from 1/3 to a single column at the medium width at 768 pixels. So let's start with our container here and then our row. So we'll say div class container fluid and then padding and then just div class row padding. Okay, and then you can close out your divs. And each card will be...
Bentar. Sebelumnya kita masukin garis dulu kan.
inside of its column.
Bikin divnya dulu aja. Div kelasnya adalah container float padding, kemudian divnya lagi kelasnya adalah row padding.
So since it's gonna change at the 768 pixel mark, we'll say div class call MD4. Okay, and then we can drop down.
Aku tahu kenapa dia 4, karena kan kartunya ada 3. Kartu ada 3 dibagi 12 kolom. Maksudnya 12 call div itu dibagi sama 3 kart, jadinya 4.
And close out the div. And inside of that, we'll have another div class for the card. So div class card. And we'll close that out. And then we have our image class for the card. So this is going to be img class card-img-top, since the image is at the top rather than the bottom or the middle. And then source for our image will be img team 1, team 2, team 3. Underneath that, inside of our card, we'll have our card body. So div class card dash body.
Header.
Card dash title. And then we'll just say John Doe.
John Doe.
And then close out our H4. And then we'll have a paragraph class here for our card dash text. And then I'll just paste in the paragraph here. And I'm just going to change this to John. I'm not sure how I got Joe in there.
Teksnya itu paragraph button.
Okay, and then we'll have our button. So
Joe is an
href, we'll just use the hashtag, make it a blank link, and then class btn-outline-secondary. And then I'm just going to write C profile here. Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh. And there we have our card, but the image is looking kind of odd. Okay, so for the image class, looks like I added IMD rather than IMG. Okay, all right, so now it's not distorted.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and add the rest of our card info here. So we have Mary Jo and then Phil Ho.
Oke, jadi kita bikin first card. First card kita bikin div buat tempat cardnya. Kelasnya adalah call md4 karena yang tadi 12 call div dibagi 3 kartu. 4. Lalu ini adalah kita bikin lagi div, kelasnya namanya card, lalu kita bikin image class. Image classnya card img top, naruh image-nya di atas div-nya, maksudnya di bagian atas di card-nya itu. Terus source-nya dia dari ini di img yang team 1 John Doe team1.png. Terus kita menambahkan tulisan di dalam div-nya itu, di bawah img kita tambahin div lagi. Kelasnya adalah card body. Kemudian kita tambahkan tulisan John Doe-nya, kita pakai H4, header 4. Kelasnya adalah card title. Namanya adalah John Doe. Kemudian kita tambahkan paragraf penjelasannya. Kelasnya adalah card text. Kemudian Ya tinggal tulis ini. John is an internet entrepreneur with almost 20 years of experience. Terus kemudian kita tambahkan link button. Kita belum punya linknya. Kemudian kita kelas itu adalah seperti tadi, btn outline secondary, lalu kita tulis judulnya adalah si profile. Nah, untuk yang lain kita bisa langsung aja kayak gini, kopas. Dari mana ya? Sampai sini. Nah, ini kita kopas 2 lagi. Tim 2 dan tim 3.
So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this all the way to the call MD4 class there. And then I'll change this to team 2. We'll change this to Mary Jo. And then I'll change the paragraph text here.
Mary is a designer with almost 10 years of digital design experience.
And let's go ahead and add Phil.
Phil Ho.
All right.
Phil is a developer with over 5 years of web development experience.
Card text.
Coba kita
Alright.
refresh. Sering. Oh no, dia ke bawah. Kayaknya ini harus ditentuin per itunya deh, XS kolomnya.
Okay, so Mary is appearing there twice. So let's change the cards laid out. And if we flex down a little bit more, it's going to change to the single column.
Oke. Mana ya? Ini bukan sih. Coba kita refresh. No. Aduh. Wait a minute.
Width at 768. All right, so next we have another two columns, the cards laid out, one, and then
Jadi kan div class container food padding, div class row padding, call MD4 card, img class card, img top source, img team 1, div class card body, h4 class card title, John Doe, card text, John is in internet blah blah blah. Href link class button secondary. See profiles. Terus div. Oh, I see. Ditutup guys, ditutup lagi. Oke. Terus call MD lagi. Oh, I see. Gini. Terus coba. Sekarang aneh. Apa dia sendirian di bawah?
Mary Jo. Card text. All right. Okay, so Mary is appearing there.
Div class call MD4 div class card. Oh, ini ada ininya guys. Duh. Div class card mg class. Div class card body H4 class pilho p paragraph div. Oh, ini ada dua. Oh my god, apa yang salah ya? Div ini div class mg class card mg top. Div class card body H4 fill okay. Terus div bener kok, salah ya. Ini belum ditutup. Refresh del. Kayak gitu. Susah ya emang kalau emang salah dikit tuh. Nah, alhamdulillah.
Twice, so let's change this to team 3. And there we have all of our cards laid out, and if we flex down a little bit more, it's going to change to the single column width at 768. All right, so next we have another 2-column section where it goes from a single width to the 2-column width at 992. So I'm going to go ahead up to the first one that we add because it's going to be pretty similar to this, and just copy it and paste it to save us some time here. So I'll paste that into the 2-column section comment or underneath it.
Sampai mana sih?
Be similar to this and just copy it.
Oh, nggak sampai HR. Di copy karena kan sama ya itunya layoutnya,
And paste it to save us some time here. So I'll paste that into the 2-column section comment or underneath it. And we can get rid of the button here and the break.
Jadi ini nih nggak sih our philosophy gitu kan?
As well as the last paragraph and then all we'll need to do is change the
Text.
paragraph text and the heading too. So actually we'll keep
Heading to kita ganti our philosophy.
that break and match the original. I'll change the
Hai semuanya, balik lagi di channel Fashion and Beauty kesayangan kalian semua. Rahasia cantik.
okay, and then for the
We know that greatness in a disruptive era requires both ambition, curious and a culture that believes we're smarter together. We approach every challenge holistically with best in class expertise in data, creativity, media, technology, social, and more. We call this alchemy. It has the power to build our clients, friends, and transform their their business. And while it may seem like magic, we've got it down to a science.
image, I'll change this to
Kita kasih BR
img/bootstrap2 .png.
terus kita ganti gambarnya jadi yang ini Bootstrap 2 Note Bootstrap 2.
Okay, so let's go ahead and check it out.
Kita cek. Dadah. Sering. Nah. Sering.
And then we have our 2-column section changing at the large screen mark. All right, so let's move on to the connect section where we have the heading followed by our social media links here. So our connect heading as well as the social media links will both be full width columns, and for the social media buttons we'll add the media queries to give it its responsiveness in the CSS. So let's start with our div class container fluid. and then we'll give it its padding. And then we'll have our div class row
Center.
and text center, and then padding as well. Then we can close out our divs, and we'll add our first full width column here for the connect heading text. So we'll say div class col
Div class.
12, and then we'll have our heading 2, and we'll just write connect, and then we can close out our div,
Div lagi.
and then we'll have
Oh, bukan.
another
Front awesome.
div class col 12 underneath that for our social links here, but we're also going to add an additional class just for our social links called social. So col 12 and then social, and we'll also give this padding.
Heading.
Okay, so we can drop down and close out the div, and now we'll add our links for our social icons. So you can put in your social pages here, facebook.com/w3newbie, for example, for mine. I'm just going to leave it as the hashtag, though, to make it simple for now.
Okay.
Okay, so inside of our link, we'll have our I class, and then this one is FAB FA-Facebook. But let's copy and paste this out first, and then we'll change our extensions, or add our social extensions. So the first will be FA Facebook. Then we have plus
Twitter, Google, Instagram.
it.
Nah, jadi kita bikin div seperti biasa. Begini. Kelasnya adalah container float padding. Terus kita bikin div lagi. Kelasnya adalah row text center, karena kita mau center padding. Kemudian kita bikin div lagi untuk teks. Kelasnya adalah dia karena full call 12 social padding. Lalu di dalamnya ini ada tulisannya, kita pakai H2 yaitu tulisannya connect. Kemudian untuk yang logo kita bikin kelas lagi, div kelasnya call 12 social padding. Oh, tadi itu call 12 aja sih. Social padding. Kemudian kita masukkan link tiap sosmednya, diisi nanti. Kita masukkan font awesome-nya dengan tag i tadi. Kelasnya adalah fab fa dash. Nah, kita copy dulu ini. Ada berapa? 2, 3, 4, 5. Ini yang pertama adalah Facebook. Yang kedua adalah Twitter. Ketiga adalah Google plus G. Kemudian Instagram. Yang terakhir adalah YouTube.
It doesn't look right. We're seeing all Facebook ones here, so we're missing something. Okay, so looking at our
Kecil-kecil.
code, it looks like I forgot the end of the I tag here, so I'll go ahead and just add that for each one.
Jangan lupa di close. Jadi kalau mau nambahin tag, mending ketiknya itu, misal kita mau nambahin tag A ya, link A, ketik A aja langsung terus klik tab. Jadi dia auto buka tag dan tutup tag kayak gitu, biar nggak lupa kayak gini kayak Mas.
Okay, so now after refreshing, there we have our social links displaying for us. Okay, so the next thing and the last thing that we'll add will be our footer section at the bottom.
Footer.
So we're going to wrap this with the HTML5 footer tag. And then let's give it its div class, container fluid, and padding. And then div class row text center. Okay, and then we can close out our divs. And this is going to be a 1/3 section, so we'll use the column 4. So col MD4.
Yes. Footer. Lalu kita bikin div class lagi. Container fluid dan padding. Organization. Padding. Bikin div class lagi. Row text center. Kemudian kita bikin, karena ada 3 kayak tadi, karena ada 3 bagian, 3 kolom, 3 bagian gini, kan div kolom ada 12 dibagi 3 itu jadi 4. Jadi kita bikin div lagi, kelasnya itu adalah col md4.
For 768. And then the first thing that we'll add will be the image for the logo that we're seeing there. So image source, and then img / w3newbie.png. Okay. And then underneath that, we'll have a horizontal rule here. So we're going to say HR class light, which we'll style later and give it its light color. And then we'll have a few different paragraph sections underneath. So first we have the phone number here.
Number, email, alamat, sama city. Okay. Jadi kita bikin image source-nya tadi kita ambil dari sini kan, yang logo.png ini logo. Bukan yang W3 newbie. img W3 newbie.png. Oh ya, ininya itu ya benar. Terus yang kedua kita bikin garis, kelasnya light karena kita mau ngasih warna terang. Terus kita bikin paragraf, nomor telepon ya. Terus bikin lagi paragraf lagi. Bikin lagi Surabaya.
Okay, so now we can move on to the next column. So if we refresh, it's going to look much light.
Coba kita refresh. Oh iya, nggak kelihatan dia.
Better when we have the dark background and the light text. We'll be able to see the logo and the horizontal rule. And we'll start off with our horizontal rule class light. And then underneath that, we'll have a heading 5 where it says our hours. And then underneath that, so P and the AM to 10 a.m.
Udah. Jadi kita buat itu lagi, kayak yang di tengah, section yang di tengah, bikin div lagi. Kelasnya adalah col md4 sama, kemudian hr kelas, kita bikin hr lagi, kelasnya sama light. Kemudian kita kasih judul hours, hours. Kita kasih garis lagi, class light, kemudian ke atas garis atas bawah, Monday AM sampai 5 PM. Terus ini Saturday-nya itu adalah
so closed.
Oke.
We have the second of our
Di refresh kayak gini.
our 3 columns. So since it and we'll change the all
Bikin yang ketiga.
zip code.
Yang ketiga tuh sama, tinggal di kopas aja. Service area. Terus ininya itu ada. Lah. Inilah pokoknya. Tuh 2, 3, 4. Sering udah. Terus
Okay, so now if we refresh, there we have it.
You know, everyone's smiling. You know, clouds are flying.
All right, and then lastly, let's go ahead and add
background.
the socket section, as some people call it, which is the section underneath the footer. So we'll say div class col 12 since it's full width.
Yes.
And then we'll have a horizontal rule. So HR class, and we're going to say HR class light. And then a heading 5 where we have the copy sign. So that's ampersand copy semicolon and then w3newbie.com. Okay, so that does it for all of
Buat yang paling bawah itu ternyata jadi ini belum ditutup ya. Kehapus. Terus kita bikin div lagi. Lupa. Kelasnya itu adalah col 12. Terus kita kasih garis. Terus kelasnya light. Terus kita kasih H5 buat itu logo ini. Nah, gitu. Okay.
of our HTML. And by the way, feel free to use this design. The copyright isn't intended for me to have some type of copy on it. It's just in there for the sake of the design. All right, so let's move over to style.css and get started at the top here after our imported Google font with our first style. So the first thing that we'll style will be the HTML and body sections with a little reset style. So let's go ahead and reference HTML and body, and then we'll add our style. So the first thing that we'll style will be the HTML and body sections with a little reset style. So let's go ahead and reference HTML and body, and then we'll add our height and width at 100%, and then our font family, which as you can see up here is Poppins from Google Font. And then our backup font is Sans Serif. We'll also give it all of our font a color of 2. And then our backup font is Sans Serif. We'll also give it all of our font a color of 222, which is a little bit softer than black. Okay, so if we refresh, there we have the change in our font style, and it's a little bit lighter with sort of a dark gray. So the next thing that we'll style is, let's go ahead and style our navigation bar. As you can see in the finished version here, it's a little bit thicker and taller, so let's add some padding.
Ya, jadi kita masukin ini mau tampilannya. Height-nya adalah 100%. Weight-nya juga sama. Font family-nya adalah Poppins dan backup-nya adalah Sans Serif. Oke. Dan warnanya adalah kode warna.
So we're going to say .navbar to reference the navbar class here. So .navbar, padding 0.8 rem. Okay, and rem and m, if you're unfamiliar, are similar. They're both based on the root font size, which is 16 pixels. So 1 rem or m will be 16 pixels. Okay, so if we refresh, there we have our padding for our nav bar looking just like the original. So next, let's go ahead and add some padding.
Sebelumnya kayak gini ya. Sebelumnya kayak gini. Kita kasih padding.
Adding to our list items. So we'll say navbar -nav li, and then we'll say padding right 20 pixels, or we can use about 1.3.
Tadi itu kan buat navbar ini. Navbar
here for M or rem. Okay, so that's looking like the original, but we also want to add some more size to our navigation link. So we'll reference the A-class nav link here with .nav link, and then let's change the font size to 1.1 M. And then I'm going to say exclamation point important. Alright, so now if we refresh, there we have the navigation items looking just like the original. Okay, so next let's drop down to our...
Oke, jadi kita akan lanjutin. Selanjutnya adalah ini navbar udah, sekarang yang bar nav. Untuk list ya ini. Untuk yang list tadi nih. F bar nav yang list. Jadi ini heading right X. Nah, kayak nganu space gitu. Nav bar nav.
Carousel or image slider. So we'll
Terus kita nganu .nav link. Terus kita nganu font size 1 EM. Apa ini? Nav link ini. Oke. Jadi coba kita save. Oke. Diganti ukuran fontnya.
we'll say carousel dash inner img to reference the images, and we'll give them a width of 100% and a height of 100%. So they take up the full screen, and we can see the whole image caption.
Oh iya.
Down here, we have carousel caption.
Oke, jadi ini kan tadi gambarnya cuma separuh ya. Jadi kita mau membuat dia jadi full. Jadi kita itu pakai tadi namanya adalah carousel inner. Kita masukkan height-nya 100% dan width-nya adalah 100%. Coba kita refresh. Sebentar, ada yang salah.
As the class. Okay, so
IMG. Oke. Kita kurang menambahkan image karena dia ada image. Kita lihat tuh, jadi full. Terus
dot carousel dash caption. And at the bottom, we want to push it upward. So we're going to say top. We're going to be, and we'll say position absolute. And we don't want it at the bottom. We want to push it upward. So we're going to say top 50%. And if we refresh, we'll see that it's still going to be towards the bottom. So we'll add one more thing.
halo,
Assalamualaikum.
salam.
Form and translate y for our y-axis -50%. Okay, so now if we refresh, there we have it displaying right in the center for us. Bootstrap to get it looking like the original here. Okay, so that's going to be the H1
Display itu.
right here. So we'll say dot carousel dash caption H1, since we don't want to style all H1s like this.
Bentar, kita mau ubah letak captionnya. Jadi dot carousel caption, kemudian kita kasih positionnya absolute, lalu topnya adalah 50%. Cuman nggak bisa cuman top kayak gini doang, harus ada transform. Dia nggak akan berubah, Coba ya. Soalnya dia tadi bilangnya nggak berubah sih. Tuh, kayak gini doang. Nggak ngawang gitu. Kita kan mau naikin dia translate Y untuk Y axis vertikal. Jadi dia min 50%. Coba kita refresh. Nah, dia naik kan.
And we'll give it a font size of 500%. Okay, and then we'll also want it to be uppercase. So text transform uppercase, vertical 1 pixel horizontal with a width of 10 pixels, and then the color will just be black with shadow. Upper. So we'll say 1 pixel vertical, 1 pixel horizontal with a width of 10 pixels, and then the color will just be black with the hex value 000. Okay, so it's looking like the original, and let's move. So we'll say.
Nah, kita selanjutnya akan mengubah nama ini kan. Belajar Laily ini. Kita itu kan belajar Laily itu dia adalah carousel, dia masuk div carousel inner di H1-nya. Belajar Laily ini H1. Berarti dia kita nulisnya carousel inner, carousel caption mana ya, carousel ini loh, carousel caption. Jadi ini H1 karena itu H1 tadi kan, kita ganti font size-nya 500%, $. Terus teks kita mau mengubah jadi gede semua, kapital semua. Terus kita mau memberi shadow vertikal, horizontal. Kemudian ini adalah apa tadi ya? Kayak width-nya bukan kalau salah sih width.
Underneath that, pixel horizontal with a width of 10 pixels, and then the color will just be black with the hex value 000. Okay, so it's looking like the original, and let's.
Kita lihat. Nah, gini. Ada ini. Coba kita misalnya ganti width-nya 20. Oke. Lebih tipis. Misalnya kita ganti ini jadi 10. Oh, bayangannya dia lebih jauh. Satu aja. Terus
Let's move on to our heading 3 underneath that. So we'll say dot carousel dash caption HAM to make it a little 5.2 a font of 200%, which is 2M or rem, and then font weight 500 to make it a little thicker here. And then for our text shadow, we'll say 1 pixel horizontal, black. So let's change this one to 15 actually. It looks like I added.
Oke, tadi diganti 15, kita nggak usah ganti apa. Jadi kita akan bikin carousel caption H3 karena kita mau mengubah belajar bersama Laily kan H3. Sama aja ininya, font size-nya adalah digedein 200% aja. Text font weight digendutin. Text shadow kayak gini ya awalnya, terus kita swing, nah gini. Dah, kita buat uppercase juga deh kayaknya. Text apa tadi? Transform uppercase. Coba kita lihat. Nah, hapus aja, kembalikan seperti semua. Oke. Terlalu besar deh kayaknya. 150.
Did too many 1 pixels here. Shadow. Now let's drop down to our buttons. 1 rem. A little bit of padding here also. Padding bottom 1 rem. Not the best practice, but hopefully you get a feel for all the different measurements.
Oke, kita kasih space. 1 rem. Sebelumnya deket banget kan? Jadi jauh. Terus
With me using them all here. Use the hex value 66, change the parent with the button 7C, or darker rather.
Oke, jadi kita akan mengubah button yang primary. Ini kelasnya button primary. Jadi di sini kita gini button primary, kemudian ini kita kasih, kita kan ini kan defaultnya warna biru, jadi kita akan ganti warnanya menjadi warna ikut itu deh, 664 8B. Terus kita kasih border solid 563D.
Okay, and then let's which is inherent with the buttons with Bootstrap to 1 pixel solid 563D lighter purple shade.
Oke, ini awal kayak gini, kemudian kita swing loh. Sebentar.
Or darker rather. Okay, and
Kan button primary, background colornya 6648B1, sama kok bordernya.
and then let's change the hover.
Harusnya sih bisa ya, dia tidak berubah. Bener kok button primary button primary gini kan, background color bener tau. Kita refresh, kalau misalnya nggak ada ini gini kan, kalau misalnya ada apa tidak berubah ya? Button primary sama, apa harus gini ya? Bentar, mana tadi? Bisa.
color. Use, but I'm using rem percentage pixel, but hopefully you get a feel for all the different measurements with me using them all here. Okay, so now let's change our primary button.
Coba kita ikutin cara dia, kita copy. Kemudian colornya
background color. So let's use that. And then let's go ahead and add our icon here. So we'll be using the Font Awesome icon reference. So here we have it. So that does it for the welcome section. We don't need to do anything to. I think it's the same purple shade that we use for. Then we'll make. Let's go ahead and just style the heading. That's going to space out with Bootstrap to 1 pixel solid 563D7C, which is a.
Jadi ini I-nya 64 NB1. Kemudian kita kasih border 1px solid.
Bit up. So we'll say .btn-primary :hover. Basically the background color and the border and see. Looking similar to the original, but I think I used the 664 for the border as well in the original here. So it's completely solid.
Kemudian yang kedua adalah primary hover. Background colornya adalah 563 D7C. Bordernya 1px solid 563 D7C. Coba kita lihat string lebih gelap gitu.
Okay, so there we have it. And now that completes our image slider for now until we do a little bit of media queries. Let's drop down to our Jumbotron, and we'll want to get rid of some padding. So we'll reference the Jumbotron class here with dot. Jumbotron, and then padding 1 rem. Okay, and then let's also give it, or take away rather, any inherent border radius it wants to give, because I think the Jumbotron by default has border radius and 0. Okay, so refresh.
Oke, jadi kita mau mengganti Jumbotron. Itu ada di sini. Jumbotron ini. Terus kita
And it's like the move on here. It's but okay. So
kasih padding 1 rem dan border. Tiap jumbotron punya radius katanya. Kita buat 0. PX nggak sih?
so border radius 0.
Oh enggak ada, 0 aja. Terus kita save. Awalnya jumbotron kayak gini. Sering. Bentar, sebelum ada ini mana ya? Oh gendut, dia gendut terus jadi kecil gitu. Nah kayak gini.
Okay, so width of it and the padding looking just like the original here. Come to be kind of centered with a max width so it doesn't go off to the far sides of the screen. But before we get to our welcome class, let's go ahead and add the padding for the padding class that we added throughout the tutorial, as you can see here referenced along with the container fluid and the row class. So we'll say dot padding, and then we'll just say padding dash bottom to rem. Okay, so if we refresh, that's going to space out everything pretty nicely. But so we don't need padding top on anything but the welcome class. So we'll add that in just a moment. Let's first give it its max width, and then we'll center it. Okay, so we'll say dot welcome for the welcome class, and we'll give it a width of 75%. And then we'll say
Welcome itu yang ini. Welcome
margin 0 auto
build with it.
to center it. Okay, so now if we refresh, there we have it centered at 75% of the width. And let's also add some padding to the top of it, just above the built with ease text. So we'll say padding top to rem. And I should say by default, Bootstrap does use rem. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just style the heading.
Oke. Jadi kita mau styling padding. Kan hampir semuanya kayak banyak tuh padding. Ya udah kita tambahin aja padding bottom. Tambahin space 2 rem. Size-nya rem. Default size di Bootstrap. Terus kita lihat nih kan banyak yang ada paddingnya. Kita refresh. Ada space-space-nya gitu loh. Ada space-space-nya tiap padding. Tapi ini weird.
Or rather the horizontal row for our welcome class. So dot welcome HR, and then border dash top.
Oh ya, jadi yang selanjutnya kita mau anu yang welcome nih, welcome section. Kita kasih ini width margin tuh, bukan padding, topnya ada 2 rem. Coba kita lihat mana ya, nih gini kan, jadi ke kiri. Sebelum ada ini, mana ya? Oh, ini. Sebelum ada ini di tengah sudah ada ini. Mana tadi? Width 75%, margin 0 auto, padding top kemarin. Terus kita refresh.
Two pixels solid, and we'll use the hex value B4, 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 which is sort of a mid to dark gray color. And let's give it a width of 95%, so it doesn't span outside of the text beneath it. All right, and then let's also say margin top, so it doesn't span outside of the text beneath it. All right, and then let's also say margin top 0.3 rem and margin bottom 1 rem.
Kita ngatur space-nya yang di sini. Border top-nya 2px solid. B4 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 warnanya. Width-nya 95%. Margin top-nya 0,3 rem. Terus sama margin bottom-nya adalah 1 rem. Terus dilihat, nah ini ada garisnya. Okay.
So that's going to space out the bottom a little. Okay, in here with our and make our font awesome icon. On FA code will have the color E54 and then so, and there we go, class here, so FA-bold, and the hex value for this is 563D7C. I think it's the blue, and out a little bit as without doing them, which is, I think is about okay before
mengatur warna dan size. Jadi untuk logo ya, kan yang pertama FA code itu buat yang HTML. Jadi kita bikin colornya adalah sama ini aja deh, E54D26. Kemudian FA bold, kita kasih colornya 56, 3D, 7C, dan yang terakhir adalah CSS3, colornya adalah 2163F. Terus ini untuk semuanya ya, size untuk semuanya font size-nya adalah 4 pm besar. Ini terus kita refresh. Larang.
and let's add margin 1 all
kita
around.
kasih margin. Salah.
Original. The next section, we don't need to do anything to the 2-column section here, since we already made our primary button purple, as you can see there with the learn more. Will be our button fun. Give it a width 100%. Okay, width to our GIFs. So we'll use, and then max width 100. So there.
Jadi kita akan
as be all
selanjutnya itu adalah
class that we gave it with dot social.
Yang fun, click for fun yang ini dia kan kayak gini ya. Di sininya itu emoji section kan, nama kelasnya fun. Jadi kita nganunya fun gini, terus kita ngatur dia lebarnya 100% biar panjang gitu buttonnya, sama margin bottom 2. Sering tuh ada margin bottomnya gitu. Sama kita mau ngatur ukuran GIF-nya. Jadi di sini kan GIF nama kelasnya. Jadi kita langsung aja terus max width-nya buat lebar maksimalnya itu adalah 100% tiap gambar. Coba kan kayak gini ya. Terus coba kita refresh. Nah, gini biar full gitu.
Okay, so we'll want to reference the social class that we gave it. And then we'll reference the A for the link. Font size to 4.5. Padding all around. And size them. So now, okay, so for Facebook, the hex value is 3B5 blue.
Jadi ini kayak menentukan warnanya untuk tiap ini.
We'll need to do.
Nah, jadi yang kan ini namanya di sosial. Mana ya? Connect. Di sini namanya itu dia itu adalah mana ya? Sosial. Jadi dan kita mau menganuin linknya. Jadi sosial A. Font size-nya kita buat 4,5. Ini untuk keseluruhan ya. Terus padding doang. Paddingnya 3. Coba kita lihat dulu, itu kan kecil. Terus kita kasih warna. Buat tiap itunya Facebooknya warnanya adalah 3B5 998. Terus untuk yang Twitter itu warnanya adalah 00 aja gini, terus yang mana? Google plus G. Itu colornya adalah D4B 39. Kemudian Instagram colornya adalah 517F4. Dan yang terakhir adalah YouTube. Ini colornya adalah BB fresh. Dadah. Udah.
Is rec shades. I'm just going to do them all the same hover shade here to make it simple. So I'll reference all the classes for our and
Sama kayak tadi.
hover 5D5, which as we'll see is D5, D5, D5.
Nah, jadi kita copy aja yang ini semuanya. Nah, ini kita ambil ini doang. Over, koma. Ini kopasnya sih. Terus gini. Colornya adalah
B3 newbie here section. So if we for the row in the container, so between the two column section. So if we go up, let's go ahead and add that in between the divs here for the container and the row, or the row in the container. So HR class my-4.
buat garis.
So if we refresh, okay, so there we have it.
Kalau kita menambahkan garis di sini, kembali ke ini yang sebelum connect ya. Nah, itu nih. Nah, jadi kita menambahkan garis di sini. Kita menambahkan
And now let's,
HR.
and then we'll give it, so if we refresh,
HR di sini. Yes. Di sini. Terus kelasnya dia adalah my4. Refresh, tada. Udah, terus kita sekarang ke
with just
footer,
color of 3
memberi warna.
D5 a black color, and then we'll give it a background color of 3F dark gray black color, and then we'll make all of our text color D5 D5 D5, which is a light gray. Text color D5 dark gray black color.
Jadi kita footernya kan nama kelasnya footer ya, mana tadi ya? Enggak, itu bukan kelas. Kita langsung aja footer, background color, buat warnanya ya, coklat itu 3F 3F 3F. Kemudian warna teksnya adalah 55. Udah, kemudian kita refresh aja. Tada.
And then we'll make all of our some padding on the top
Oh, kita
of
ngasih
2.
di atasnya ini kita kasih space dengan padding top ya. Tuh padding top bukan
rem. Add some padding on the top
ya. Oh, 2 rem not EM. Refresh. Tada.
of 2. Our horizontal border 5, right? And then let's also give it a width 5. That looks pretty good. So it doesn't take up the full column.
Jadi
And then let's also give it a width of 75%. So it doesn't take up.
Garis ininya kan HR di sini itu HR ya. Mana ya? Oh, ini kan di footer ya, HR garis light, kelasnya namanya light. Jadi ini HR dot light kalau nggak salah gitu ya. Terus gini, terus kita kasih border top. Kasih garis solid, warnanya adalah, terus lebarnya adalah 75%. Nggak full div-nya dia, jadi hampir full gitu. Coba kita refresh. Tada.
The full. Let's minimize the padding a little bit to make it a little bit less spaced out. And I use the R hours here for both, so I'll change this to service area, like the original. 0.8 rem rather than the padding, and then margin bottom 1 rem. Okay. So that looks pretty good, except for the last horizontal rule.
Oke, jadi kita tambahkan margin top 8 rem dan margin bottom 1 rem. Jadi sebelumnya kayak gini, terus kita refresh, tuh dia lebih mepet tulisannya.
We'll just don't do that at cell phones when we look at it. Do the default link color on cell phones when we look at it, or iPads, for example. So we'll say HR class light 100 for the last heading or horizontal rule, and we'll make it a width of 100%. So HR.light 100. And then let's just use the same style here. Okay, so that's all of here, width of 100%. So HR.light 100 link color on cell phones when we look at it, or iPads, for example. So we'll say HR class light 100 for the last heading or horizontal rule, and we'll make it.
Oke, jadi kita memperbaiki ini yang paling bawah sendiri. Kita tambahin light 100. Oke. Untuk garisnya biar nggak berwarna, maksudnya hitam. Light 100. Kemudian kita buat linknya. Link apa ya? Kok ada link?
A width of 100%. So HR
Footer A. Di mana footer A?
dot default link 5. We'll do our phone number. So the phone number we'll just reference with footer A, and let's keep the color D5, 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 because if we don't do that, it's going to appear blue, the default link color on cell phones when we look at it, or iPads, for example. So we'll say HR class light 100 for the last heading. So we'll say HR class.
Kalau default warna phone number itu, jadi kita menambahkan apa tadi? Footer A. Colornya adalah sama.
Light 100 for the last heading, or light 100 style here, width of 100%. Okay, so now if we refresh 100, except we'll give it a width of light 100, that it's going to appear when we look at it, or iPads, for example. So we'll say HR class light 100 for the last heading or horizontal rule, and we'll make it a width of 1%. We have it.
Oke, terus kita hr dot light min 100 for the horizontal rule. Kita samakan dengan ini. Oke.
That's all of our CSS for the full width version. So now we'll move over to some media queries to resize the carousel caption info, as well as some of our headings and the social links at the bottom. Okay, so let's drop down and let's use these media queries here. So I find that for the purposes of making tutorial
Media queries.
it's easier to use media queries like this with the max width rather than the min width media queries with Bootstrap, which basically means mobile first styling. So let's go ahead and get started with our first media query at the max width of 992 pixels. So let's go ahead and first change the size and the padding on our social icons. So we're going to say font size 4M to bring them down from 4.5 on the full width version, and then we'll give them a padding of 2 rem. Okay, so now if we refresh, they're a little smaller here until we flex it up past 992. Okay, so that's all we're going to do at 992, so let's drop down to 768 next. And starting from the top of the website, let's go ahead and resize our carousel caption info. So that's going to be our heading 1, heading 3, and the buttons. So if we take a look at the original here, when we size it down, it's going to be a little smaller all around as opposed to what we have here. Okay, so we'll reference that with the carousel caption class. And to make this easy on ourselves, we can just copy our carousel caption heading 1 and heading 2, as well as just the carousel caption itself. Okay, so let's bring that down and paste it here in the 768 mark. And let's get rid of transform, translate Y, and position absolute, and we'll just a little bit higher to the closer to the top. And then for our heading 1, we'll change.
Balik lagi di channel Fashion and Beauty kesayangan kalian semua. Aku pakai .com untuk ngarahin followers.
The font size to 350% from 500. Okay, so that's looking better already. And then let's resize our heading 3 text. So we'll get rid of the text shadow, and we can leave everything else. So we'll resize it to 140%, and then 0.2 rem. Let's move on to caption dot size,
Dikecilin.
say pen 14 and
Iya.
760. So this is the display
Oke.
and 14.8.
Jadi kita akan coba yang media dari yang
our carousel
dulu.
as caption. Okay, so that's all we're going to do at 992. So let's drop down.
Nah, ini kan kita mau nyoba buat yang ini, kita pakai yang connect. Yang tadi kan kita pakai sosial, 6 kelasnya sosial. Terus kita kan pakai link ya. Jadi A ini adalah link di sosial. Terus kita ubah font size-nya jadi 4em kalau di max width-nya 992 px dan padding-nya jadi 2 rem. Oke, kita save, kemudian kita reload. Oke, enggak gini caranya. Ya, intinya di 992 px dia akan kayak gitulah pokoknya. Dia akan kecil.
Okay, so that's all we're going to do at 992. So let's drop down to 768 next. And starting from the top of the website, I and position absolute, and we'll just say rather than 5.
Membuat dia lebih apa ya? Lebih kecil yang bagian caption di carouselnya.
Better. So it looks a little small here at this width, but most text in our mark. Then moving on down. Okay.
Nah, jadi kita akan memperkecil ukuran ketika size-nya 768 px pixel. Kan ada kelas carousel caption dengan topnya itu kita ganti jadi 45%. Kemudian ada lagi kelas carousel caption H1 ini font size-nya kita ganti jadi 350. Oh, yang tadi top itu bukan font size tapi maaf, bukan font size tapi dinaikin tulisannya. Pokoknya diubahlah posisi tulisannya. Font size-nya 350% kita kecilin. Kemudian untuk yang carousel caption H3 kita font size-nya kita kecilkan jadi 100. Nah, jadi yang padding font size-nya kan 140. Terus kita tambah padding 8px keterangannya itu
and 14 pixels left right.
oh left right 14 kanan bawah 8 atas bawah.
Okay, so that looks good. And now moving on down the page at the 768 mark, the next thing that we'll resize will be our heading text here. So this is the display for text in our welcome section. So here we have H1 class display 4. So we'll say dot display dash 4, and let's make the font size 200%. Okay,
dikecilin.
devices for the, and now let's resize our social media. Okay, so we can just copy this social A with the font size and the padding.
Oke, jadi ini display for font size. Ini buat heading ya. Kita resize jadi 200% untuk di size ini 768 pixel. Coba kita lihat. Mana heading ya? Oh, ini.
And we'll change the font size to 2.5 em from 4, and the padding to 1.2 rem. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, and then as you can see in the style.css file, we have.
Oke, lalu kita resize. Selanjutnya kita akan menambah kelas sosial. Link yang connect tadi kita ketik aja di sini. Itu yang link tadi. Kemudian kita ganti font size-nya menjadi 2,5 em dan padding-nya menjadi 1,2 rem. Dan untuk yang terakhir
3 to
kita
90% with 4 pixel
yang sama dengan carousel.
top box.
Kita perlakukan untuk carousel juga yang untuk terakhir 576 pixel, jadi kita copy aja caption H1 sama H3, caption H1 sama H3 ini kita copy, kemudian kita ganti topnya 40%, H1 250, perkecil lagi sesuaikan dengan pixel. Ini jadi 110, ini jadi 4px dan 8px.
Bottom 8 pixel
Lalu,
left right.
Buttonnya juga kita resize. Oh sebentar. Oh jadi ini tuh yang tadi sebentar. Ada buttonnya, jadi ini tuh bukan kayak gini. Sebentar ya.
Caption. What we can do is sell caption.
Yang tadi ini tuh font weight. Dilebarin lagi. Jadi 400. Kemudian kita tambahin padding bottom buat bawahnya 2 rem H3 itu. Kemudian kita tambah satu lagi, itu adalah carousel caption button untuk buttonnya ya. Ini jadinya font size-nya kita jadikan 95%. Kemudian padding-nya kita jadikan 8px untuk atas bawah dan 14px untuk kanan kiri. Nah ini udah. Kemudian kita copy yang ini karena tadi belum ada. Nah, ini kita ganti dia jadi berapa?
And then this to 250. Heading 3, change it to 90%.
Nah, ini jadi 90%, ini jadi 4, separuhnya ya. Jadi 8. Kemudian ini jadi nggak pakai padding. Terus dia 110. 110 ya sama.
With 4 pixel top bottom, 8 pixel left right.
Udah, resize aja. Selesai.
Okay, so that looks better.
Kita save, kita lihat ini. Nah, kan dia resize, yang connect nih resize. Terus dia menyesuaikan yang carousel ini. Tuh. Terus,
And then also, if you haven't noticed, once we get down to 768 or 576 rather, the carousel caption indicators will, or just carousel indicators will disappear. So we'll say display.
disappear. Oh, mau menghilangkan itu maksudnya. Jadi kita akan menghilangkan carousel indikatornya. Nama kelasnya adalah carousel indicators. Ini kita buat displaynya none, tidak ada, menghilangkan
None.
indicators.
And then
Coba kita save, refresh, kita kecilin sampai 586.
Then we'll do our display for and our social icons. Okay, so I can just copy them from 768 and paste them in here, and we'll change the display for font size
Dan sosial, oh iya, kita copy.
to 160. And then for our
Kita kecilin jadi 160.
social icons, we'll change them to rem.
2 sama 7. 0,7 maksudnya.
Okay, so that looks pretty good.
Kita
So let's go ahead and scroll up and we'll take a look at the finished version here because that concludes all of our HTML.
Oke. Begini hasilnya, hasil akhir kita membuat ini. Oh, ini jadi resize kecil.
And CSS for the entire tutorial. So that does it. I want to thank you for watching. Please remember to like.
Bye. Kayak gini hasil akhirnya. Pertama ini ada ini carouselnya. Turun ada ini link. Ini agak gagal tapi ya udah. Harusnya dia di tengah kan. Mungkin text center kali, lupa ya. Terus ini tadi yang diubah, kemudian ini jadi ini responsif dia gambarnya. Nah, terus turun lagi, udah ini juga responsif. Ini jadi kecil, dia menyesuaikan pixelnya. Kemudian ini terakhir, udah selesai.